them that we will be starting in a minute. Please reply kar do, so that they know that we are there. Is everybody's phone off? सबका phone vibrate text mode पे है?
मेरा ही वो भी होगा कोई।
वो किसका है? सर तुम्हारा है?
क्या?
ये वाला मोबाइल इंस्टाग्राम पे?
ये? नहीं, मेरे पास। स्टार्ट प्रवीण का।
चलो। ठीक है?
स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं हम?
इसका
वॉल्यूम बंद है अभी।
वॉल्यूम नहीं आ रहा फेसबुक वाला।
इसमें लाइव।
मेरा तो चालू है।
नहीं आ रही आवाज।
जब स्टार्ट करना हो प्लीज थम्स अप दे देना।
ओके, एक सेकेंड जस्ट फेसबुक वाला देखें।
फेसबुक देखिए, आवाज नहीं आ रही।
Hi everyone, are we clearly audible? Okay.
Hi, good afternoon.
So hi everyone, we from Manas Foundation are here to have a conversation with you regarding mental health and wellness today. So I'm Harshali Shrivastava, a clinical psychologist here at Manas, and we have with us Mr. Naveen Kumar.
Hi.
Sir is the founding member of Manas Foundation as well as a mental health expert who has experience in this field for over 25 years now. First of all, I would really like to thank all of you for joining in today, and as we proceed with this discussion, I will try to take up as many chats and queries in the chat box. So please keep sharing your views with us. So today we are going to talk about habit. Changing your world one habit at a time. So as we all know that we do certain things every day without consciously registering it. We know that it's our habit, but we don't always recognize the significance of it. So I would like to ask Sir, can you tell us about some of the habits? What roles do they play in our lives? What are some of the predominant habits that we need to identify and find out what role they play in our life?
So first of all, good afternoon, Harshali, and good afternoon, everyone. We are here to talk about habits today, which is, which is so common a thing that we generally don't pay attention to it. And another thing I will request, Harshali, if you can open your phone and we can have the Facebook on here so that I know who all are there and they can be addressed directly.
Sure, absolutely.
So, like as Harshali said, how do we identify predominant habits? First of all, it is not predominant habits that we need to identify, because how would you say predominant habits? It's like, you have so many muscles in your body, and some of them are big muscles and some of them are small muscles, but it doesn't make them irrelevant or relevant.
Yeah.
So even the smallest one, if it is not properly working, if it is not properly set at its place, it can give you trouble. Similarly, we don't have predominant habits. We are a sum total of our habits is what we are. And I would rather like to say that habits are at different stages of acquisition by an individual. So at any given point of time, you will have some habits which you will be getting into, just starting off. There will be some habits which you would have acquired quite well, and they have become part of your daily routine, and you don't pay much attention to them, but you're still conscious of them. And the last stage would be habits which are so ingrained in you that you don't even recognize. They are instinctive.
Right.
To give you an example, walking.
Yeah.
That is one of the first locomotor habits that we acquire. And you will see that each one of us has a different gait, has a different style of walking, which it's so difficult to change or bring about a change in, that it needs professional help if you have to walk, if you have to change your walk. So rather than thinking of them as predominant habits, let's start to think about them as the habits that we are just starting with, habits which are already well formed, and then habits which have become almost instinctive to us, which you don't even realize.
Right.
I would like to, for your sake, like to point out, even things like which side of the bed do you sleep, how do you hold the pillow, how do you walk,
Yeah.
how do you hold your pen. Matlab, right way of looking at it.
Absolutely. So like we say, we are what we repeatedly do.
Yes.
So-
that's a
Yeah. So there are endless examples of, so many things that we see in our everyday life, people doing that we ourselves want to inculcate within ourselves. Let's say someone wants to take up exercising, wants to take up a healthy diet, a balanced meal. But we know what the good thing is that we should incorporate, that we should integrate in our daily routine.
right.
But we face an issue with doing it, with actually doing it. So how to go about
It's a big paradox that
Yeah.
all of us have gone through some stage of our
Yeah.
life. And we will consistently be going through them for the rest
Yeah.
of your life also. And like Harshali said, we see these, good habits in people probably we admire or our mentors or anybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are given expert advice about acquiring some
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
habit.
Yeah.
Or you might read somewhere or be introduced. Today social media, all the influencers are giving you all kind of ideas of what to do and what not to do. But most of the time we are not able to, despite wanting to, despite even at times trying, not make them functional enough so that they become part of our lives.
Right.
I would, if I'm asked, rather than focusing on giving up bad habits, if we can pick up what we are trying to today talk about is how to pick up good habits.
Yeah.
So my first suggestion would be invest. Invest in the habit that you want to acquire. And by invest I mean time, how much time you will give to that activity. Money and resources. We don't think about it, but it is very important to, materialistically invest in a habit. I remember from my college days, there was a roommate of mine. And, when exams are coming, obviously everybody wants to get into the habit of regular practice, studying and everything. And I noticed something very peculiar. He spent the whole week just, organizing his table, buying a new table, buying small things, lamp, this, pen, pencil. I said, what the hell are you doing? So he said, for me to get into this habit, I have to invest enough into it so that I stay glued to it.
Right.
Another simple example I'll give you from our recent life. In one of our official excursions, we were going for a hike. And though we didn't specify, that agency which was taking us for travel, they gave a list of things that people had to buy for going for that hike. And that required not the normal things, base layers, warm trekking shoes, this, that. Now, I remember out of the 20 people that we went, all the people who took that extra effort to buy that new shoe, buy that thing, buy a jacket, buy a raincoat, they were so invested into it that they even went for hikes after that also. So that is what I mean by. Another very important thing that I would like to point out is that you have to invest your thoughts. So suppose you want to get into exercising. It is not just important that you give 1 hour. It is not just that you buy good clothes for yourself, a pair of good shoes or something like that. But you also have to invest your thoughts. You have to start thinking about it. That is what you should consume. That is what on the social media you should try to look forward to. Those are the newses that you will, those are the researches that you should read about. So if you invest your thoughts into it, automatically you will have a higher tendency of doing it. Another thing that you can do is, if you are able to, find people or find company which is already invested into that habit. It is meditation, spirituality, whether it is exercising, whether it is cycling, whatever you want to get into, studying, debating, chess, whatever you want to get into. Find companies.
Sort of a buddy system.
Buddy, थोड़ा technical हो जाएगा. Today what I'm trying to talk about is I'm not trying to use any psychological term. That's why I haven't used motivation, reinforcement, all that. I don't want to use those because it becomes very technical. Last of all, if you can get involved with activities which are peripheral to the habit that you want to acquire, that will again help. So this is the investment part that I
Right.
Second very important thing that you can do when you have to get into a new habit is make commitments. Now what I mean by commitment is that you have to not only think in your head that I want to do this. That is a commitment you are making to yourself. But believe me, those are the easiest to break.
Yeah.
So we have all gone through New Year resolutions. The gyms go through New Year resolutions. The smoking goes down. These are all stats and figures which are available.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that this is happening is that those commitments are only to self. So you have to make these commitments to people, groups, people in your family, today on the social media, where you I wouldn't say you are answerable, but at least you will have that desire to be seen in a positive light. So that is a big factor which makes us initiate a good habit and then stick on to it. Third and most important thing, which is generally ignored, and what is the reason that we are unable to acquire these good habits is you will definitely fail.
Yeah.
That's a truth. That's an absolute truth. So whenever you pick up a habit, a good habit especially, you will give it up, you will fail. You will exercise for 3 days, your body will ache, you will have all kind of things, you will suddenly have more important things to do, and you will give up. Now, this failure has to be understood as not a failure. This is not failure. This is just a break.
Yes.
My suggestion would be to make the restart as soon as possible whenever you get the first chance. So suppose you tried to work out for 3 days, 4th day you had a break. Any of the days that you get the first chance, whether it's a weekend or chutti or you in some new location and you get it, and it's not necessarily that you do the same activity.
Right.
Suppose you want to go, you join the gym and you can't go there, and you go on a vacation, it's not bad that you just go for a run for 15 minutes and do something. So it doesn't have to be that. What I mean to say is you have to just start. Of late, there is some very groundbreaking research which has happened of late, and which says that even if you are not doing that, if you think about it also, even that has a 30% impact on your muscles. So suppose you're thinking about exercising, even if you're not exercising. So between a group which is thinking about exercising and a group which is actually exercising, obviously the one which is doing will gain more benefits. But even the one which may not physically be doing it but is thinking, even they have positive impact. So, as I said, in the investment part, if you can invest in those thoughts and you make that part of it, then the chances are much more higher that you will stick. So, just to recapitulate what we said: 1, invest; number 2, commit; and third, if you get a break, which you will get, just don't get bogged down. Restart as soon as possible. Whenever you get the first chance, restart.
So you've told a lot about what goes into getting into a good habit. It's true. But then a lot of people face a problem with consistency. We know that this is supposed to be something that we need to inculcate in our life, but we have a problem with sustaining it. I also face that issue. So that is a major concern of how to sustain it, and also with regards to having busy routines and not finding the time, how to sustain it, how to go.
As I said, this is not something which is exceptional. This happens with everybody, and it's going to happen to you also.
Yeah.
So one of the things is, see, when does a habit become strong enough to sustain itself? When it does not require external motivation or external reinforcement. I'm using this word again. So you can understand reinforcement as some sort of gratification, some kind of happiness, some kind of joy, whatever you want to use. Let's not get technical into what reinforcement is, but there comes a time when the activity by itself becomes rewarding. You don't need something external to it. That's the time we can say that the habit is now functional.
Right.
And you don't need to anymore push yourself. You will keep on doing it.
Right.
But how to reach that stage? That is what you were asking.
Yeah.
How to sustain it for long enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a number of heuristics which have been said. Some people say you have to do it for 1,000 days. Some people say you have to do it for 100 days. Some
Yeah.
people you have to do these many miles before it becomes. But I think so. The best judgment or best parameter is our own body. It will start telling you when it becomes habituated to something, and it wants. We all have experience with some of the things that we all do. Cigarettes, they make you crave. Alcohol,
Yeah.
they make you crave. So
Yeah.
the body tells you.
Yeah.
So similarly with positive habits also, the body will tell you. But how to make it for that long, how long to do it. So you will have to, in the initial phases, you will have to find, you will have to consciously look at what are the things that you are gaining from it. Those gains at times are not visible enough or clear enough to us for us to think that I should continue with this
Right.
and make it work.
Right.
Suppose, very again cliche, take the case of exercise. You will not lose those 5 kgs that you want to lose in the first 15 days.
Right.
It is not going to happen.
Right.
You will not even lose an inch or anything of that
Yeah.
sort.
Yeah.
You will just be tired, you will be painful,
Yeah.
everything will be there.
Yeah.
Now, where do you find a reward in this? How do you find a reward? So you have to consciously look into yourself to see that. It could be just the soreness of your muscles you're
Yes.
enjoying.
Yes.
It could be the tenseness of the muscles that you're enjoying. It is just the tightening of the belt around your waist which you can feel. It is just the slight looseness of the shirt which is around you. Now, these are the things if you are not consciously doing, you will not realize that.
Right.
You can also look at sometimes, when you're starting with a habit like this, most of the things are done. As I said earlier, if you invest in a company or in a group, you will find it. Now, that group is a very strong force to give you this. आप पहले दिन जाते हैं, nobody knows you.
Yeah.
By the 3rd, 4th day, people will start saying good morning,
Yeah.
or good afternoon, or hello, or hi, or something. Now, if you are conscious of that, that is good enough for reinforcement.
Right. Right.
But you have to be aware of that. You have to
Yes.
use that to yourself.
Yes.
Others are obviously the most vital, but that is going to take time. That is going to take some days, some effort on your part before people can see that you are actually glowing or you have less bags under your eyes or something like that. But I can assure you that if you look,
Right.
even not very carefully, but if you pay attention enough, your body will give you indicators from the day on how it is.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah.
The way you feel like eating, the way you feel like relieving yourself, the way you sleep. These are all indicators that can motivate you to keep.
Right.
You just have to be aware.
Yes.
So Hashali, I think so that is what in this brief interaction we can talk about.
Okay.
But obviously, before we end and take up questions and other things which are there, I would like to say that at times it is not even a bad habit, or sorry, a good habit or a good thing to, in case you are not able to keep up,
Right.
you are not able to inculcate, despite all these degree things and whatever Delhi Times tells us, then it is not at all wrong to seek some professional help.
Right.
You don't have to go to a psychologist only. You can.
Yeah.
There are many other agencies, many other people who can help you out. There are a lot of motivators today. There are a lot of self-help groups. There are other things. So rather than promoting and saying you only have to go to a mental health
Right.
professional or anybody,
Mm.
you can seek help. You can even seek help here in case with non-professional people who are actually,
Mm. Mm.
right?
Right.
So please, everyone, whosoever has ever thought of picking up anything which you find attractive, good, positive, good for yourself, if you try any of these, I'm sure you will see the benefits of it. We at Manas are always available. There's a whole team of
Yeah.
people who are available. We have a helpline which is there to assist in these.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in very big shit to ask for help.
Right.
You can seek help for things that you're finding difficult.
Right. Exactly.
And one of them is, as we said in this talk, picking up good habits, sustaining them and making them part and parcel of our
Right.
daily existence.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, any queries, you can write it up in the chat box and we will take it up. And I'll just check if there are any questions.
So
Okay,
shall we-
thank you so much for your
So
feedback.
shall we like with every good, we
Yeah.
are also starting this.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't expect that the very
Right,
first
right.
time things are going to
Right.
be, overflowing
So
with
we-
queries, but I'm sure people will.
Okay, so we
As-
have questions, sir.
Right.
We have good feedback as well as some questions. So, Ayushi wants to understand how to manage distractions. Like even while we are working, sometimes we get distracted and our line of thought is diverted. So, how to overcome that? How to manage distractions?
Shreya, this is a very important question. I have no doubt about it. But
Hmm.
today, as I said, we've specifically chosen to talk about picking up a good habit.
Right.
Trying to manage bad habits, giving up bad habits, keeping yourself concentrated among distractions. We will
Right.
we will talk
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
But that is the specific reason that we've chosen this topic today is
Hmm.
because this is the one
Hmm.
which we don't pay attention to.
Right. Right.
You will see, as I said in the start, you are a sum total of all your habits.
Absolutely.
If a larger portion of them
Hmm.
are positive,
Hmm.
good, adaptive,
Hmm.
you will yourself find yourself not to be distracted.
Right. Right.
So I will address this and we will come to this in
Hmm.
the next session when we are talking about how to
Maybe manage some
manage
distractions.
not only distractions but give up some of the bad
Right.
habits that we may have
Right.
inculcated
Right.
consciously, unconsciously,
Right.
whatever be the reason.
Right.
I think so there are some more
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. We have questions. How can a habit stay a habit and not fade away? Or we have another question. Shall we try to accomplish our goals via the route of building good habits or instead do it merely on willpower?
See this whole concept of willpower, self-control, they are all academic terms.
Right. Yeah.
These are terms to understand individuals, understand personalities, but
Hmm.
these are not things that you use in. These are not things that can be used for daily accomplishments and daily things.
Right.
So technically, if you say willpower is required, but what is willpower and how do you get that willpower? It's
Right.
not something that you can buy off the shelf or get it from somewhere or take it from somewhere.
Right.
It is only by engaging in what I said when you are picking up positive habits is your willpower.
Hmm.
So if in the last 5 years or in the last 1 year,
Hmm.
like during the pandemic, we heard a lot of people said that they picked up a lot of good habits.
Yeah.
Cooking, gardening,
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
meditation, dedication, all that.
Yeah.
So when you are picking up good habits, you yourself increasing your willpower.
Right. Right.
So rather than thinking that I should first get willpower then I'll do something,
Hmm.
it's the other way around.
Right.
So if you are doing the good things consistently, are able to manage them, able to sustain them,
Hmm.
you will anyway have good willpower.
Hmm.
That will come, that is the end result of you doing good things for a sustainable period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's actually a very interesting perspective. So we have questions regarding procrastination and accommodating habits in a busy schedule with family. and
I said,
taking
now
comfort
see,
as well. Right.
this will all happen. These are all things
Yeah.
that happen. These are common things that will happen.
Yeah.
You keep on thinking about it, but I am saying thinking is better than not thinking.
Not thinking.
If you are investing that thought in picking up that habit or maintaining that habit, you are anyway doing good for yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So procrastination को आप बुरा मत समझिए.
Hmm.
एक लिमिट के बाद it gets bad, where
Right.
it stops you, whether it becomes negative, it becomes counterproductive. But some amount of thought process has to go before you can
Right.
start something
Right.
or sustain.
Right.
Anything?
Okay. So we have some good feedback and a lot of questions that would be, maybe we could take some of these and build up our topics for discussions later on some of these topics as well. Till then, I believe it's a good thing and a takeaway from this whole discussion would be that we should be more consciously aware of the little things that we do in our daily routine and how they shape up to be eventually such a huge part of our lives. So that is a good takeaway. And also, like Sir said, invest, commit, and also it's important to
Restart whenever you fail.
yes,
Whenever you fail, restart at the earliest. Just don't think that you've given up, you can't do it. All
Right.
that is not what it means. You
Right.
just need to restart it and you will get back.
right, right,
So Ashali, I think so next time from the feedback that we've got,
Yes, sir.
we should focus on how to eliminate if you have picked up something bad.
yes,
And obviously deal with the
Definitely.
concentration and the procrastination.
yes, yes.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. And
We will be leaving this video on the platform, so if anybody wants to revisit it
So that's
and understand what we are saying or have any questions, please feel free to
Yeah.
get back to us on our
Yeah. You can visit www.manas.org.in as well. That's our website, and
the helpline number.
you can drop feedback on there, and we have a helpline number as well. You can drop feedback and suggestions regarding what sort of discussions would you want in further sessions or any other sort of help that you require. So thank you so much for joining in, guys, and hope to